Hola! Happy Homebrew Wednesday, guys. Back with you. This is Near Beer One here, and I've got a couple topics to cover today, and I'll start out with a challenge. And I know the last challenge by Craig Tube was to show your junk drawer. So here's my challenge. So I want you to show any type of unique instrument that you have in the kitchen. So my unique instrument is this cutting board. It's a hot pepper, and that's another one of my hobbies besides brewing beer is growing hot peppers during the summer. So this is my unique instrument, and I have the go along with it the little hot pepper knife that has the hot pepper blade and handle with it. So that is my unique instrument for the challenge. So tell me, respond to my video and tell me what unique instrument you have for the kitchen. And I'm actually going to use this today, and we're going to do two things. The first thing is we're going to sample and talk a little bit about a new homebrew that I've got, which is this Mexican Cerveza, and we've got a little bit of lime to go with it. This was actually a present for my sister for Christmas. It was just a liquid malt extract. It was a Muntins, just a liquid malt extract kit. Had the yeast with it. Was just the normal, kilo of sugar and dry malt extract that went along with it. I did half and half. This is half dry malt extract, just plain light Muntins, and then actually a half dextrose. So again, we're going to see how it turns out, and again, we've got the lime to go with it. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the homebrew that I started out my series with, which was this German Altbier. And if you remember, I had carbonation issues with this beer. I really, I would open it up, have a little bit of pressure release, but no real carbonation. So actually 2 weeks ago now, I went ahead and added some additional yeast to this brew, and last week we tasted it. It actually had a little bit more carbonation, it had a little bit of head, so we're going to see how 2 weeks now of bottle conditioning does for this beer. So without further ado, we're going to start out with the Mexican beer. I'm going to go ahead and use my my hot pepper cutting board. Cut a little bit of lime here. Again, I don't think this is a necessary thing. I'm going to taste it first without it, but see how it goes. So without further ado, let's pop it open. Good pressure release. And let's give it a pour. If you can see that, that's actually pretty clear. I can tell you it's got really good carbonation. Got a decent little head on it. If you can see that, it's got good carbonation. With this particular beer, I did a little bit of extras to it. I actually made a hop tea. I got some Liberty hops, which is pretty on the low end of the alpha acids, and I boiled it for about 8 minutes. And then I also added some lemon zest as well to the boil, and I added that to the fermentation process. So again, just tried to step up the kit just a little bit. So again, cheers, guys. Try the first one. It's really good. Definitely has a good mouthfeel to it. High on the carbonation side. This one's been bottled for about 2 weeks. It's been bottle conditioning. You can definitely taste the maltiness to it. I can definitely see why they would call this a Mexican Cerveza. It really has that kind of little bit of an aftertaste that you get with a lot of Mexican beers, such as Corona or something like that. I really like it better than Corona though, so let's go ahead and do just kind of the typical thing. Hopefully this won't ruin it, but drop a little bit of lime in there, see how it goes. good. It's really good. So again, it was a cheap brew. You know, my sister got it as a present, but again, I know it's only like $12, $13 here in the States. That plus the half you know, dry malt extract plus half of the dextrose makes for a really cheap beer. Again, I'd added, you know, buck 20 for the hops, and maybe another buck for the zest. So again, the good thing. Try it if you have, you know, if you need a quick beer. It definitely is a good way to go. Okay, now on to the German Altbier, and we're gonna, again, this is now 4 weeks total in the bottle, 2 with the extra yeast. So again, had a little pressure release. I definitely see a little smoke coming out. When I tasted this last week, it had a really great taste, and definitely was a very pleasant and drinkable beer at that time. Yep, I can definitely see the carbonation. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. But see the carbonation a little bit ahead, still not a huge amount ahead, but let's give it a taste. Still excellent beer. I mean, if I chose between the two, I would still choose the partial grain, the Altbier. It's just the type of beer I prefer. I'm definitely not going to give up a free beer though either. So I guess that's about it. I will go ahead and say I do think adding the yeast to the bottles after I first encountered the carbonation problem was a success. I definitely recommend that if you have a beer that seems to be low on the carbonation side and is really pretty flat when you open it. I'm really, again, I'm going to say that call this a success. So happy Homebrewed Wednesday, guys. Cheers.